We organized. Thank you so much, Nina, for hosting, and Debbie for organizing everything. We had this little party for Ruti, because we are all going to miss Ruti so much.
I'm gonna miss all of you.
It's been years. Ruti is coming to our French shiurim, our French classes, and she's like such a good friend. Like Baruch Hashem, we connect on a deeper level. So I just wanted to say a few words. We just started yesterday. We fasted. We had the Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, and we're starting the 3 weeks are the saddest weeks in the Jewish, in the life of a Jewish person. And the culmination is Tisha B'Av, when we have the Bet HaMikdash that was completely destroyed. And in these 3 weeks, what do we need to focus on? I don't think this year we need any excuse to be sad. We have a problem being sad. I mean, you just turn on the news, you just see what's going on in Israel, in France. I'm French, obviously, that's the accent. Anywhere in the world, and you can feel that it's mamash not a good situation. I was talking today to a shlucha. We both having a program in French in Belgium, actually. And she was telling us that she hosted the Olympic delegation at her house. And usually when they come to her, she's allowed to take pictures, she's allowed to talk about them. She said this year, the fear that they had, she's never felt that. She said they begged her, they said, you're not allowed to put our pictures anywhere. You're not allowed to tell anyone that we came to your house. Everything has to be secret, everything has to be hidden. She cannot say where they are, what they do, who came. She said, I was not even allowed to take a picture of Moshe Shabbat. She said, I've never felt that in my whole, she's a shlucha for over 30 years. She's never felt that. She told me, it's unbelievable what's happening right now. So sadness, we got that covered, unfortunately. We don't need to force ourselves. But we cannot stay in sadness. We know that mamash, the Gehula will come through simcha, through joy, through happiness. So how do we go from despair to joy? How do we transform that feeling? How we don't let it sink? How do we mamash pull ourselves together and fight that? Because that's the only way Mashiach will come. I've told this story to my friends that my mother, when she was married, the first few years she had the miscarriages, and she tried to have children, and she tried, and the third miscarriage this time she was so depressed. She couldn't get out of the house, and they lived in Crown Heights. And my mother, they actually lived with Mrs. Reitschik. They were really close. They were neighbors.
What's your maiden name?
My maiden name is Layani. My parents are shluchim in the south of France. Lachiani, Layani. Depends how you pronounce it. So my mother was very, very depressed, and she didn't want to leave the house. And my dad asked a bracha from the Rebbe, and he asked, what should we do? And the Rebbe answered, Simcha Pratz Geder. Only joy will push away all the boundaries. Only joy can transform a bad decree. So my dad came back home and he told my mom, you need to be happy. That's it. That's find the simcha wherever you want it from, but you need to be happy. And she became so happy from that day on. Whoever met my parents, they know they always have a smile, Baruch Hashem, on their face. Whatever happens to them, you see, they witness. They always, Baruch Hashem, have a smile. And B'lei Nara, my mom went on. And we're a very, very large family, Baruch Hashem. My sister was born that year, and it was just the beginning of a very big family. Because it's the simcha that helps us to get out of it. So how do we do? What's the process to go from this despair to simcha? The answer is in the Talmud, and you already know the stories I'm going to tell you. I just want us to look at a fresh perspective. But the story you know. You all know the story of Rabbi Akiva. He was walking with the 4 Chachamim, and they went to Rome because they wanted to talk to the government there. And as they're walking, the Chachamim are crying and crying and crying. And he's like, why are you crying? And he's laughing. And they're like, why are you laughing? And he's like, tell me first why you're crying. He says, don't you hear the noise of Rome with whatever destruction they did and whatever they did to Eretz Israel, to the Bet HaMikdash? And they get to be happy and they get to celebrate and be strong. That's not fair. That's not okay. So we are very distressed about that. So why are you laughing? And he told them, I'm laughing because this is what Hashem gave to the bad people. Imagine what Hashem will give to the good people. How much more we're going to get. And the second story, you also know about it. It's the Chachamim, they walk through the ruins of the Bet HaMikdash and they see a fox walking through and they start like weeping and crying. And again, Rabbi Akiva is laughing and laughing. And they ask Rabbi Akiva, why are you laughing? And he's like, well, why are you crying? And they tell him, because it's written in the prophecy what happened, in the Nevuah, that the fox, right, is going to walk on the ruins. So it's really sad. He told them, but if you believe in the first part of the Nevuah, so then you have to believe in the whole Nevuah that says, as Be'ezrat Hashem, it will be rebuilt and we'll have the Bet HaMikdash. So the question I want to ask you, because I know most of you know these stories. The question I want to ask you is, why was so special? Why was Rabbi Akiva the one laughing? Why the other Chachamim, they were very special. They were not anyone. Look in the Talmud, everything they bring us. So why it's only Rabbi Akiva who had the power to laugh about it and see the goodness in this horrible situation? And the answer is in Rabbi Akiva's life. Who was Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva really started his life, we can say, when he was 40 years old. 40 years old, we all know the story of the stone, and Rachel, his wife, who gave him so much love and believed in him. And that's only when Rabbi Akiva transformed himself from this poor person to this huge rabbi that everyone followed. And that most of the rulings, we actually go by him. How did he go? Because this rabbi, he knew what despair meant. He knew actually what being poor, what being at the bottom of the ladder meant. He knew it because he felt it, he lived it. I remember once I saw a Rav and I had so many issues and I was telling why, and the Rav said, because if you feel it now, then you'll be able to help people because you'll know what it means. It's something to say, oh, I understand you, and it's something to actually understand them because you went through something that is very similar. It's a different feeling. So Rabbi Akiva, he understood that being at the bottom is not actually a final decree. There's always hope. Look where he came from and look what he achieved. And that's what he reminded them. That's why he was the one who was capable of reminding them that. Because he was capable of telling them, look at my life. Look at me. Believe what you see is not final. You always have to project yourself in the future. And I was thinking about that this morning. I visited a friend of mine. She's 95 years old. May Hashem give her a very long life. I went to visit her. I like to sit, and usually I just sit and she speaks. And she tells me about her life in South Africa, and she tells me about the war and everything. There's always something I learn. And today she looked at me, and I came, honestly, I was like, Chas v'shalom, not depressed, but it was not my best. I was like, I just looked at something that was very sad. The hostages' bodies were returned, and I was like, ugh. And she sits and she says, Sarah, I want to tell you something. I'm like, okay, what do you want to tell me? She said, you know how I live my life? I live my life that every day is a good day. And even if it's a good day, I'm happy. I'm like, thank you, Hashem. I'm so happy to be Jewish. And if it's not a good day, it's okay. There's always tomorrow. And I was looking at her and I said, you know what? You just gave me back the smile and you reminded me, there's always tomorrow. Don't get fixated on today. Because there's always tomorrow. And the Rebbe told us very, very clearly. I mean, how many times the Rebbe said the Mashiach is coming? It's not something like that, it's just an idea. It's actually a reality. But it's a reality that it's not, we cannot wait for it. We have to make it happen. We have to realize that we all have a responsibility. Rabbi Akiva didn't become like so special of a rabbi overnight. He went back to first to learn Aleph Bet with the babies. So just imagine the work and the humility you need to have to actually go deep down, right? To become someone. And I believe that we all have that within us. We need to work within us. Like, find one thing you can work on. What have you not pushed yourself yet to do better? Why? There's always one thing. It doesn't matter. I was talking to this friend. She's Baruch Hashem, 95 years old. And trust me, she's still working on herself. Because this is something, really, you cannot spend a day being the same person as you were yesterday. It won't work. You need to be different. You all know the story of this person who went to the Rebbe and he said, it's so like boring to say the same tefillah every day. You say the same words. I mean, God is not like bored. The same words, the same tefillah every day. And we repeat and we repeat and we repeat. And the Rebbe answered, if you're the same person when you start the tefillah and you end the tefillah, You did not daven properly. The tefillah has to go through you and change you. And it doesn't mean something like, wow, sometimes people think they want for the big breakdown. No, sometimes it's very small. Mamash, sometimes you just take 2 minutes and you focus on one sentence. That's good. That's enough. Because that will give you the wings, the help, to move forward. I was listening to Rabbi Jacobson. He had a reel on Instagram yesterday. And he said there's a mother who came and she asked, how can I make my children happy? And he told her, that's not you saw it, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no? But that was a big question.
The children can only be as... Anyway, go ahead.
Yes, they say, no, you get it right.
I don't know.
No, I heard it. That's right. It's exactly that. He told her, it's not about, your focus shouldn't be on the children being happy. The focus is, how are you happy? What are you actually showing to your children? It's my father. I remember when I started teaching, I was 16 years old. And I already had my bagrut, my baccalaureate. I don't know, you say that in English? My what?
Baccalaureate.
Yeah, but in English? My diploma, high school diploma. High school diploma. And my parents, they didn't have a teacher that year, so they said, do you want to start teaching just to help us for a month? I ended up teaching for the whole year. And for I don't know how many years after that, Baruch Hashem. But I was 16, I was telling my dad, no one is doing the Amida. I'm trying to show to do the Amida, and I'm telling them, come on, put your legs and do this. No one is listening to me. And my dad says, hey, my dad, you want to teach them? Do the Amida. Put yourself in the middle of the class. Do the Amida. After a few days, everyone will do it. They see you. And it has to come from within you. And I see that with my children. I can tell my children, do this, do that. But unless I really feel it and I do it, that's the best. Mamash, they say the best chinuch is shalom bait. Why? Because when you show your children how you behave, how you act, how you fight, that's also a big one, how you fight. When you show all this, that's when the children do, and because they see and they learn. So the same applies to us. You want Mashiach. It's nice to all say, we want Mashiach now. But what are you really doing to bring Mashiach? What are you truly doing? And can you do more? That's the question. I remember a few months ago, I was giving a shiur. It was right after October 7th, and the French lady will remember that moment. And one of the girls in my class said, but I'm super upset at Hashem, and I don't understand, and why is this happening, and this and that. And honestly, I understand. She was upset, and I told her, but what are you doing about it? Are you reading Tehillim? She said, no. Did you take upon yourself another mitzvah? No. Did you do? So you come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you just complain. But what do you do to change things? It's like you cannot just expect things to happen. You make things happen. And that mamash, I think the lesson of these 3 weeks. We have the power to change these 3 weeks. This last time, Be'ezrat Hashem, that we have to go through this sad 3 weeks. Let's make it happen. Let's add something. You know about someone who's not feeling good, just give them a call, send them a text, go see them, organize organize a meal train. You know about a family who they have a child who's off the derech. Go, give a word, give a support. Do something to help people around you. You have no idea how much distress people, you see them and we had this discussion and people, and they ask you how are you doing? And everyone's like, Baruch Hashem, good. But if they start really telling you how they're really doing, you don't know. You don't know. No one tells you really how they're doing, right? It would take a few minutes. And then you would someone here was telling me that her husband, when she came home, and if she wants, she can correct me, but she was telling me that when she came home, her husband used to ask her, how are you doing? And then she would say, and the husband was like, sorry. That's not what he was really asking. He was not really asking how she's doing. He was just, trying to be nice. So maybe ask someone truly how are they doing and be there for them, and anything that we can do, Be'ezrat Hashem, will bring Mashiach. And I really pray, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we bring Mashiach now. And that all the hostages are home. Amen. And we have Shalom Be'eretz Israel. Amen. And may we all be united. That's what we need to ask for. Thank you so much. And you need to come back to visit us. Be'ezrat Hashem. Thank you.